Hi folks, I'm going to finish off the captive ring saga. I told a lie that I'd never done a captive ring before. I did. The very first thing I ever turned on a lathe was this. That was a captive ring. It's a piece of eucalyptus, and I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't a clue, but I realised at that moment that this is something I really love. So I did do a captive ring, the very first thing I ever did. So that was a lie I told when I said I'd never done it before. But I've never done captive rings on a goblet before, so that was the truth. Okay, this is a goblet that you saw before, and it's looking okay, but big problem. This was wet laurel, and it's split there. Just right in the center there, you can see the split. And I glued it with sawdust, and it came out as a dark line, so I had to stop. So on to the next one. So I made the next one, which was this one, and it turned out well. Fairly thin stem, rings are nice. The foot's too big. Okay, I made the foot concave this time, but it was too big. And then I had it on the jam chuck, and I moved the chuck away and then slammed it forward, thinking it was further away than it was, and I split the bowl. And I'll try and find the split for you now. There. So that was scrap, which is disappointing because it's quite a thin bowl and I like the profile and stuff, but that's what happens. So then we went on to another one. Now I had a piece of spalted beech and I cut it into 3 pieces, so I had 3 more chances. I got the second bowl up and going, and then I was about to finish the bowl, and the evil voices in my head said, just take another wee cut before you finish, you'll get that off okay, you no need to sand. And the good voices were all screaming, no, don't do it, but we don't listen to good voices, do we? So I took the final last wee cut and I made the inside bigger than the outside, which is never a good idea. So that was scrap. So it's down to my last 2 blanks, and I finally got one finished, and this is it. Okay, now it's taller than I wanted, but the reason is because I'll just spin it round, let you see it. It's very heavily spalted, and I think it's quite nice actually, you know. And the spalting runs right through the stem and into the foot as well, and through the rings. So it's worked out okay. Now, the reason I left the rings so thick was because when I was cutting off the ring, I'll show you which ring it was. When I was cutting this second ring off, it exploded because spalted wood's very weak and the spalt lines are the weak part, and it just exploded. So I had one ring and I had to cut into the foot then to try and get the second ring. So that's why the stem ended up as long as it did. But I think I've got away with it. I'm very happy. This is the one that's going out. I've signed it and all. So I'm happy with that. So I'm very pleased. And it was a very good learning experience. I learned a lot. And part of that is how to sand the inside of captive rings. Okay. First of all, an apology. On Woodturner's resource, where this is basically headed for this video, Nigel Thomas suggested it might be very interesting to see me parting the goblet off. Well, Nigel, I'm very sorry. I did keep that in mind, but there's 2 problems. First of all, I'm not set up with a camera that will do that type of videoing for me because I've no stand or anything. And the other issue was I was under so much pressure to get this done. I didn't need a camera to be watching me as well, because the parting off was absolutely terrifying, because it got to this stage. I'd had a disaster along the way with the rings, and I just did not want anything to go wrong, and I did the thing, I parted it off. So, but for your interest, maybe I'll show you how I did. I'll not show you, I'll tell you how I did it. On this one here, oops, I've got a tape caught here. There's the one that I had a bit of a disaster with. Now, there's the parting off line there. So I need to get a parting tool here. I need to let a cat out of the garage as well. This is our 3-legged cat. Right. Okay, so a parting tool. Where do we see? There's one there. Right. So Nigel, the way I did this was, I went in at an angle to the base. Now there's 90 degrees. So I went in at a slight angle to make the base concave, because that means it sits square. And as I went in, I relieved the wood here, and the further I went in, the more I relieved, so that I wasn't getting pressure marks and burn marks on the inside there where the friction was building up, which meant that you get a nice clean cut. Relieve this wood here, and it means you can get in and keep your angle. So that's basically what I did and how I parted it off. Same procedure for everything else. And I saw on a video somewhere somebody relieving wood with a parting tool, and that made a huge difference to my parting off. So that's how I did it. And Nigel, once again, sorry there's no video, but too much pressure. Okay, on to sanding captive rings. Vaughan happened to mention, how do you sand the inside of captive rings? So we'll imagine that this is the stem of a goblet. Well, I tried everything, and I tried using parcel tape, which wasn't strong enough to hold the sandpaper in position. I tried duct tape, which held for a while but gave up because it's very hard to get. See, I'm using Abernet here, which is that synthetic stuff, and it's very hard to get that to hold because there's holes in that, so you're losing a certain amount of surface area for grip. You're also going downhill onto the stem, which is losing grip there, and it's just doesn't hold. So then I come up with the idea, cable tie. So obviously the cable tie wing doesn't stay up. You cut that off, and I leave a wee space here because it means that whenever I put the ring on here, I can sand the inside of it and then move the ring over to here and bring the second ring in. So it's the first ring sitting here. I put a rubber band through it and bring the rubber band over the chuck, and it holds it very well, so it's not bouncing about. Now, when you're doing this here, wrap the stuff so that the trailing edge is turning away from you. It means that when the lathe turns, you're not going to be ending up grabbing that as it comes round. So make sure you wind away from yourself when you're putting this on, if you decide to use this method. So I just use that Abernet, and I change the grits as required, and I just do the rings one at a time. The way I was doing that before was down on the floor here, right? I was using a piece of Abernet cut into a strip and feeding it through the wings, through the rings, and doing this side-to-side business, which is absolutely soul-destroying. I don't mind sanding. I quite like it because you get quick results, but to do the two rings is really, really hard. Now, once we've got it sanded on the inside, incidentally, when I'm doing the outside of the rings, say those aren't parted off, okay, those are still stuck to the stem, I finish the outside before I do the inside, because at least that's in position and you can get at it, and that's the part people are going to see most. So I get it finished well, and then I cut the inside. Then polishing is exactly the same. I just wrap a tissue around the lathe, around the spindle. Now, I make sure it's fairly thick so that the rings kind of stick on it, which means you can finish polishing the outside, and then as the lathe's turning, you just hold the ring in position, and this spins underneath, and you can move from side to side and do the sides of it. So that solves that problem. Chuck mentioned, how do you get the radius? Oh no, it's not. It was on the tool he was talking about. I'll show you one of the tools I made. There's one there, and what I do is I grind a flat on the. I grind a flat on the top, and then I grind a bevel on the bottom. And you need to make sure when you're doing this that you leave yourself, and this is a right-handed tool, there's left-handed ones. Leave yourself enough room that you're not getting trapped against the end of the bottom of the stem. Okay, so that's basically it. Cable ties, hold it in position. Does the cable tie your cloth on, and that'll do the inside of the rings for you. So that's it. I'm conscious of this been running on to 10 minutes, but I think it's 15 minutes allowed now, but 10 minutes is enough for me for anybody. So a final look at this boy here. There's the bowl. I think that's really nice. It's lovely spalted wood. And there's the other one. I'm going to make another one of these because, I'll just tell you, it's my 30th wedding anniversary today, and my wife has been helping me design these and she's quality control, so I'm going to make one for her. So I haven't finished the goblets yet. I've still got a piece of this beach, so that'll be it. Okay, all the best now. Bye bye.